back, Hodskins. This is probably personally one of my favorite episodes so far, in terms of the guests that I've had on, because it's funny because I would be watching you. I've the past few months I've been watching you on Ball's Life, and I would see Cash Nasty react to like your videos and
Yeah,
stuff. He
yeah,
has to, because he got to pay his bills and stuff. So I remember I see one of your videos with Emmanuel, and I just saw you guys going off, and I was like, oh, this is a special guy right here. And it's like, you're starting a podcast, whatever. It's like, oh, you're not at that level yet, and it's like, you know what, let me just reach out and see. And you got back to me, and I was just like, dude, this is a great opportunity, and to talk to one of my, even a player that I've actually looked up to, just recently, just from finding you and reading about your story and seeing your story. So thanks for coming on, bro. I really appreciate it, man.
of course, man. I mean, like I said, when you reached out to me talking about mental health, I mean, I jumped all over that. I think that is something that's not talked about enough, or, kind of hidden from people, but they should have no shame in it, and they should talk about it. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm happy to be on here.
Absolutely, bro. So for the listeners, so where were you originally from?
I was born in Owensboro, Kentucky. My parents are from there. Um, they moved me away when I was like 2 to Hilton Head Island, South Carolina.
Okay.
Um, Grew up there, grew up around the beach, and we just kind of hopped around from there. I got 2 older sisters. We never really stayed in one spot for long, and I
Right.
kind of see that as a blessing because I got to meet a lot of people, kind of like get some like
Right.
personality skills, like for real. So
Right,
everywhere
for
I got
sure.
I got to meet new friends and all that, and having one
Yeah.
hand was already kind of like
Bit of
kind of
a
like down a peg. So you
right.
really got to like learn how to be yourself and just be like a caring person for real.
Yeah, I mean, you've been through so much. I feel like you've gone through so much adversity, and that's kind of what made you. It's what developed your character. A character, I feel like, because to me, you always came off as a really nice and genuine guy. We interrupt this program to bring you a word from our sponsors. Cats Dogs Canine is a one-stop shop for all of your dog needs, with training, grooming, boarding, daycare, and more. Located on 35 Mobile Road in Percy, PA, be sure to check out Cats Dogs Canine and let them know the LOFT sent you. This podcast is also sponsored by Brighter by Bree, a local company created by Bree Taylor, who has 9 years experience in the dental world. Brighter by Bree is a service dedicated to giving you the whitest smile possible. Brighten up your smile today and let them know the LOFT sent you. This episode is also brought to you by Century 21 Group. Looking to capitalize on this upcoming post-summer surge in the real estate market? Ryan Tagliamonte, a local and licensed realtor in Pennsylvania, is here to help. Ryan and his team at Century 21 Veterans in Newtown have recently been rated as a top 3 highest producing Century 21 group in PA. As an investor purchasing properties in Philadelphia, Ryan understands the complexities of the market from a consumer's perspective, offering clients help with buying, selling, renting, or investing. Ryan works diligently and efficiently to find your dream home or to sell your current home at top dollar. If you're ready to take a dive into the market, contact Ryan today at 267-344-6914 or find him on Instagram or Facebook at Ryan Tagliamonte Realtor. Now back to the podcast, especially
Yeah.
in videos. But so then you started off in Kentucky, and then I saw you transferred to Milton, right? In
hmm
Atlanta, Georgia. Is
Yeah.
that where your high school career started off?
That's where my high school career ended. So, yeah, so I started 2 years in Tennessee. Wasn't really working out. I really, really had a full passion for basketball. Um, my dad was a college baseball player, almost went pro, could have, just some complications. My mom, real good athlete. Both my sisters, good athletes. So, like, even though I had one hand, my parents and my family were going to push me to play sports because that's like our family. And like, it wasn't like anything I was opposed to. Loved it. Loved sports. Loved, getting out there competing. And the fact that they had my back was like even better. So I was the youngest. I was the youngest of my 2 sisters.
Okay.
So like they were out of the house when I was a sophomore in high school. And, me and my dad communicated a lot. And I was like, man, I really want to play college basketball, but him and I both agreed that like being in Tennessee, being at this spot is it's not going to happen, especially for somebody with one hand. So I had to go put myself in a position to either succeed or fail, like bluntly. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So I went to like the biggest high school in Georgia, And I was like, dude, I'm going to try out for y'all's team. I'm coming here in the summer. I'm going to have this 3-day tryout. Take me or leave me. I went in that tryout and I freaking crushed it, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
played like so good. And I was like, I just, that was when I was like, God has my back. This is my
Right.
path, like for
Right.
real.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
went to that tryout, crushed it for 6A, which is the highest in Georgia. The coach was like, dude, you're on the team, like come. So, me and my family just like uplifted, sold our house, bought this little house in Georgia, and I went to school there, and the rest is history, man. Like,
Because I could see like I see a lot of kids who have a goal and their parents may not fully understand it. So
yeah,
then the kids are naturally just like, you know what, maybe like just shy away from it. But the fact that your parents were able to say, you know what, dude, we're gonna go to Georgia, gonna move out there and kill it is amazing. And so, what was it like when you were going to the tryout? Like, because I know I'm sure it's so common for you to be like, oh, this kid has one arm. Like, what can he possibly do?
right,
Like
right.
what's like, so who helped you develop those techniques to be able to play with one hand?
My dad, dude, like, I don't even think that he realizes what he did for me. I know he doesn't because
That's amazing.
I talk to him on a daily basis, and he just
Yeah.
like he has no idea that he instilled that confidence in me. And man, like it's pretty amazing. This guy has no idea what he did for me, but the fact that I, put myself out there so many times, um, like I gotta attribute it to somebody, And I just have to say, like, my dad really instilled confidence in me, never gave up on me, and never looked at me like, my son was disabled. He looked at me like my son's gonna like take some shit over, like,
Yeah, I mean,
and just like
honestly,
I
yeah.
appreciate it.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I mean, I don't think many people do once they see you dribble a basketball. You know what I mean? It's like that goes all out the window.
Appreciate
You
it.
know what I mean?
Thank you.
But and then when it comes to putting yourself out there, I always try to realize, like you were saying, you want to attribute it to your dad, but you should also attribute it to yourself for even having that goal in the first place. You know,
Appreciate that.
I think that gets overlooked a lot when people who have ambition, they always are extremely hard on themselves, and
Yeah.
it's important. It's important to sometimes give yourself a little bit of credit. You obviously don't want to make yourself satisfied, but it is important to realize that, hey, listen, like I did get myself here. I did put in the work.
Right.
So you put in a lot of work, and Billy Donovan recognized it, and he decided to give you that scholarship as a preferred walk on, right?
Correct. He
That's
did.
amazing.
And
What was that initial reaction to you and your family, like you and your dad especially? Like, what was that when you got that call to
I
be the
remember getting
Florida?
that call. I really do. I was in my kitchen in the house in Tennessee or in Atlanta. I was in the
Yeah.
kitchen in the house of Atlanta, and my dad was like, he hung up, looked at me, he goes, "They gave you an offer," and I just remember saying, "No one else can offer me." Like, that's it.
That was
No one
it.
else is gonna offer me. Like, I'm taking this. Like, for
Yeah,
real.
yeah,
This is what I wanted. Like, I wanted SEC, I wanted Southern, I wanted Florida, I wanted all that, man. And like, I couldn't believe that they called and they said like they wanted to take me, like for real. And I
yeah,
wasn't even expecting anything further than that. I just wanted to be recognized for the hard work that me
yeah,
and my father
hundred
put in.
percent. Yeah, I mean, like that the adversity and everything you went through. I mean, it's super It's super nice to just know that somebody's watching.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know you have a lot of you have other schools looking at you as well, and you had a lot of D1 schools coming to your games and stuff, correct?
Well, yeah, this is something I kind of gone through a lot. It's just like, no, I never had like a set school send me an offer, but if I were to keep going, I signed my junior year. So like
Oh, okay.
if I were to keep going, yes, I would have had multiple D3s, multiple D2s,
Yeah,
100% just from
yeah,
everything that I see from everyone.
yeah,
But the fact that I signed on for Florida, tweeted it out, Instagram,
yeah,
everything, I let everyone know. I
yeah,
stopped receiving any kind of
yeah, yeah.
they knew that I was gonna go there.
I mean, dude, you kind of hit the top at that point. You're like, Billy Donovan hit me up. I got really nothing else to show right now until I get to that level.
Yeah. And to be honest, dude, like having one hand and being
Yeah.
born the way I have, um, you know, I guess little successes mean more to me. So
Mm,
just to have
yeah.
that offer, I was like, dude, I
Over the
don't
moon.
care what people think. I don't care what they're gonna
Yeah.
say about this. I'm taking this. I'm gonna go get my education. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
learn from these guys. and I'm gonna go
Yeah.
and achieve my goal, which was to play in the SEC, and I got it. So
That's so sick,
like,
bro. That's
who cares what anyone thinks, man?
dude. There are
For
people
real.
with two hands that can't even do that. Not even that matters, but it's just like, dude, I can only imagine the amount of work you put in.
I did. I
So
put in a lot of work, bro. I did.
yeah,
I did.
I've seen your videos. I mean, so putting in that work and telling yourself, I want to be a Division I basketball player. What was some of the adversity that you faced during those times, whether it was in the beginning of high school, or even at the college level? What was some of the adversity you had to face, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. One, I mean, you can take one look at me. I mean, I don't know if whoever's watching, but like, look at me. That's how I was born. That's how I present myself wherever I show up to. I mean, like, if you're at a pickup basketball court, you're not going to look around and see me and be like, I'm taking that guy. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff I had to go through, was just like, you got to
Yeah.
prove yourself. I had a chip on my shoulder. And so anytime that I was in a gym, it wasn't to mess around. It was to
Mm,
put some real work in, so that when I faced those moments of people doubting me, I could show out and be the best basketball player on that court. And that's actually what happened, which is pretty amazing. And like, it gives me goosebumps to talk about, but like, there's
mm,
so many people out there that doubt themselves. And I'm like,
mm.
dude, I was doubted beyond anything that you can imagine. And
Yeah.
I was able to take my vision and put it into real life. And you are more than capable of doing that. So I'm just
Absolutely.
like, I just want to share that with people, man. Like, it's so true. Like,
Mm,
if you prep yourself, preparation is key, man. If you
mm.
prep yourself for that big moment or those moments, dude, you will show out. Like, preparation is for real. And I was
Right.
sprinting suicides with my dad every day, like challenging myself. We used to stand in front of each other and be like, okay, what's the hardest thing for me to do? And I'll be like, dude, catching like this is hard for
Mm,
me to do. So my dad would throw these wild passes at me that I would have to catch in these like
yeah.
weird angles. Like, we
Yeah.
practiced that. We practiced rebounding with one hand. Like, you got to take your
Yeah.
weaknesses, work on them, and become better. That is
Right.
life. That's life,
Right.
man.
Yeah, I think, and another, like, it's failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
don't take the practice seriously, it's like what happens when you get into the moment. And also too, it's like, you know, a lot of people are afraid, they shy away from their weaknesses, and I think that's something that you picked up on super early in life, is that
Right.
instead of being like, oh, like, I don't want to face this because I know I'm not good at it. Instead, you're like, what, that's the first thing I'm going to work on. And I think that's what ultimately led to your success. And I mean, and that is a really big key. And so, and that's something you started doing, what, just from the beginning, just from from the get go.
I had to. I
Mm-hmm.
had to. If I wanted to, I mean, it's easy to realize that you're different when you're young, but like
Yeah.
if I wanted to play with these guys, if I wanted to be capable of being at that level, I would have to work on my weaknesses like nothing else.
Right. So then, what was the college D1 level like for you? How was
Yeah,
that experience? How was that experience?
eye opening for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I mean, I was on a team with multiple McDonald's All-Americans, which are
Mm,
the top in the country. There's like, you can
right.
count them on one hand. Like, that's
Right.
like, they're incredible. I remember first day of practice, we were scrimmaging. I got a wide open layup, crossed half court, looked back. Nobody's coming for me, right? By the time I laid that ball in, this guy, Devin Robinson, was pinning my shit off the backboard, man.
He was right
I'm
there,
like,
dude. Yeah.
it sounded like a shotgun. And I was like, wow. I'm like, I've never seen somebody sprint so far, so fast, and then
Yeah.
jump to get my ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was eye opening. I was like, wow, I'm at
You're
this
not.
level I wanted, and
Yeah.
cool,
You're not in
whatever.
Georgia anymore.
Nah, man, for real,
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
uh,
and that's
it's fun.
and yeah, like I mean, I can imagine this. Like, are you somebody who just loves a challenge? Like, do you seek out a challenge?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. If somebody
that's
tells me I
awesome.
can't do something or something, I'm gonna go do the opposite, for real.
And I mean, that's been your whole life.
Yeah, and I thoroughly enjoy that. Yeah.
That's awesome. And it eventually led to you playing at the pro level, right? You were in Germany for a little bit.
Yep, I played in China and I played in Germany. Yeah.
How was that?
that was like a cherry on top, man. Like I thought I would only get
Yeah,
to college, and for me to actually excel and be able to have somebody want me to sign a contract and want me to come to their country, like I was like,
right.
damn, dude, like I really established myself. I felt accomplished for real.
I mean, yeah, it's a D1 pro basketball player title you can put on your put up on your shoulder. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and then so how long were you in Germany for? In China?
I was in Germany for like 5 months, I think,
Okay.
and then I was in China for only 3. Kind of went over there for like a tour, but we
Okay.
played against all their national teams, all that, and that was the first time I was like, I feel like a pro. Like I feel like I could play against these guys because we were beating them,
Yeah.
and I was like, damn, man, like once I come back, I'm gonna go get like a real pro contract. Like I would love to do that. I think I can hold my ground.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still your goal, right?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Nice.
Anytime.
How old are you right now?
25.
25. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm about to be 25 in like a few weeks, or October 3rd is when I turn 25. So yeah, you
Yeah,
still got plenty of time, man.
feel stronger than I ever have. Really,
That's
I just,
awesome. Yeah.
just want to keep it going. So if I
Yeah.
stop getting hurt,
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, we won't talk about that, but you're on your road to recovery, you're on your road to
yeah,
rehab, and I think you're gonna be just fine, dude. I mean,
yeah, I'll
you've
be fine.
had,
All good.
you've been through so many setbacks in your entire life, so I mean, I can imagine that a few months or whatever just to heal up and get yourself right
Yeah,
can be important.
I'll be fine.
Um, so this is actually a me question. So, when did you get the call from Ball's Life? When did they hit you up to be on the team?
That's a funny story. Yeah, so I was in Germany and I went home and I was like, dang, I really want to keep playing basketball, but coronavirus was in full effect.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, like most like indoor gyms were closed.
mm,
Most outdoor courts, sorry, were like barred. Like they had bars over the
yeah,
rim.
they,
Like, you
yeah,
couldn't even play on the outside. I was like, wow, this
yeah. There's a
is this is
little,
wild. Like, where am I gonna go to play basketball? The court around me was still open, and I was like, dang, I'm gonna go start filming myself playing basketball because I see these people on the internet. Like I'm friends with Nick Briz. I've known Nick Briz
yeah,
before
yeah,
he
yeah,
started YouTube, and he was giving me ideas, and I was like, okay, well, let me actually take these ideas that he gave me, like Devontae, like Tristan Jazz, and start
yeah.
filming myself because I think I have a niche with my hand. So I started filming. It wasn't a month in, and like one of my buddies was like, dude, I know somebody from Ball's Life that lives here in Tampa, and they should come film you. And I was like, cool, let's link up. So I got this guy's number, told him I was like gonna go play at this park. His name's Scotty, which he's like my boss slash manager to this day. He
Okay.
pulled up and he was like, all right, just go out there, run. We're gonna film it, edit it, make it look cool, street ball, and let's go. And that's what we did. And it crushed on the internet first day. Me and Nick,
That's
we
sick.
like killed it. And then every park that we went to, we kept meeting these people. Like we met Austin Mills, then we met Duke,
Yeah,
met
yeah,
Slim, and we were like,
yeah.
are you able to do both basketball and production side? They said yes, and that's how we started forming the team. Like it just
Okay.
started with me going and filming myself.
That's crazy. And dude, it's what it leads full circle back to what you talked about, putting yourself out there, right?
Yep,
You know, if you
exactly.
never had that idea, it would never happen. And yeah, you see the Tristan Jazz, and because he's a kid, he's undersized relatively, but he's somebody who believed in himself and could ball, and ended
Yeah,
up just put, and the same thing with the podcast and the videos. You just, dude, the energy you create, people will gravitate towards it if it's authentic. You know what I mean?
right. I agree.
And it's crazy because that's why it's so good for me to just like I enjoy meeting people like you and who are just willing to put themselves out there, because normally in my neighborhood it's very like frowned upon to do that. Like I'm one of the only kids I feel like in my neighborhood who actually does it,
Yeah,
just because it's like they're like it's not the normal shit, it's different. And it's like, you know what, dude, like you eventually build a wall. Like because I do music too, and I've been like I've like known to do that, like do different things in my neighborhood. And it's like in the
yeah,
beginning you're gonna have the shit talkers, and it's like, you know what, dude, you just build that wall up, and then you eventually get so good at it that they have no choice but to support you. You know what I
I
mean? Or
agree.
even just or not even support you, but just respect it and acknowledge it. So
Respect, man. Yeah,
So you guys, was Duke and them a part of Ball's Life yet, or they were just their own entities and you guys just came together and Ball's Life said, let's form this team?
Dude, it started with me and Nick,
Really? That's
and
good.
me knowing Nick, and like he's my homie. And
Yeah.
so he was like, dude, we got to do this. He's a smart kid. Nick is a
Yeah.
smart guy. And like, I've
Yeah.
always respected Nick for that. So
Yeah.
when he was like, dude, let's go film here. Let's go film at your court. And,
Yeah.
you know, I got, Scotty from Ball's Life. He just came out,
Oh,
man. And,
yeah.
I played my own game. I
That's sick.
just did everything like I normally do it. And just putting it on film changed everything.
Absolutely.
It's
The
just
internet.
putting yourself
Yeah.
out there, correct? And
Yeah.
yeah, you will draw haters, you will draw people that question it, and people that just like are like, dude, why are you doing this? But like,
Yeah. But
who cares? If you're happy, just do it.
yep. Logan Paul, he did a podcast with KSI. I don't know if you watched it, but
Yeah,
he was talking about because you know KSI gets a lot of shit for his music in the beginning because he was a YouTuber,
of course.
and they were talking about how there's people have their own categories. I feel like where it's like you have the people who talk shit, and like that's perfectly fine because they're needed in life. Like they're
Right.
needed. They're supposed to be there because
Yeah.
they're the ones that are supposed to help drive you, and that's their lane. That's the way I look at it. I don't really think of them in a bad way. Like the people who talk shit, I think of them more as like, I need you just like you need me. Like I need you to be telling me these things, so I now have a fire under my ass to keep going. You know?
Yeah. Well, think about it like this. You know when you have like good days. Like you go to
Right.
bed at night and you're like, damn, that was a good day.
Yeah.
Right? But how
100%.
would you know that if you didn't have all those bad days?
That's
You know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah.
So how would you
Absolutely.
know that you're being successful if you didn't have all these people getting mad the fact that you're doing this or
Right.
hating on you? Like you wouldn't be like, oh, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. If people
Right.
weren't getting mad, like you wouldn't have that offset, and that's what people need. You need that offset to realize what you're doing.
Oh
So
yeah.
haters
100%.
just come along with the business, and you
Yeah.
just gotta smile and carry on. That's all it is.
Exactly. Were there times where you like doubted yourself and
Well, like what, like with hate?
yeah, just I guess the hate and just the even having the I won't even call it a disability at this point, just having that minor setback of the one arm or the one hand.
Um, I'll start with the hate thing.
Mm.
It's I'll be like super honest. Like I looked into myself and I thought, when I was that person, which I'm not that person anymore, but I used to be that person that would derive hate or
Mm.
see a post and be like, I should say this, or, that
Yeah.
makes me mad for some reason. But like over the years, I was able to like look inside myself and be like, why was I being that person? And it had everything to do with me, my problems, what I was feeling at that time.
Mm.
So I take that energy that I know and I put it into the people that are hating back at me, and just knowing like, damn, I was that person. Like I feel for that person. I love that person. I'm sorry that
Mm.
they're in that space, but it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with something that they're going through,
Yeah.
and that you have to like just ignore it. Know that not only were you that person, that you could still be that person to this day. But you know, I still love you, but like what you're doing is not you, and it has nothing to do with me. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna like kind of cast away what you're saying. So I
Yeah.
just I just ignore it and just try to show love as much as I
Yeah.
can.
The way something that I've been trying to put into my life is realizing that people's actions don't dictate who they are. And
Mm-hmm.
I've always been the person who just believes in somebody. I just do it. I mean, sometimes it's blindly, but like most of the time it is calculated. But it's like I always see the best in people. Like, and I always think that somebody's feeling is always temporary. I always try to tell myself that
Right.
pain is always temporary and the feelings that you have are always temporary. That's why they're called feelings. You know, it's like that's why
Right.
people say I feel happy. It's because it's something that is fleeting. It comes and goes, and you know it's important to acknowledge when you are happy, and it's important to acknowledge more importantly when you're not, and because you do realize that you know over time you're not going to be as like down as you are right now. It's not how you're going to be feeling a month from now or a few months from now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, it's something I've always tried to tell myself, and it's been huge for me.
And also going off of that, as much as like people want to concentrate on like the negative comments that will bring you down, the
Mm,
positive comments will bring you two up as well.
yeah.
So it's just like there really is like a huge scale. You have to
Yeah.
stay right in the middle, man. You can't get
You.
too up from these comments that you get for
Yep.
real, because that
Yep.
is just as devastating as like focusing on the negative stuff. So it's just
Absolutely.
keeping that even keel, knowing who you are, and
Right.
just continuing to believe in yourself and do the things that you want. You can't go based off lovers or haters for real.
Right. Absolutely. And I can imagine that's probably what you went through too. Like when you were, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing when you're in high school and stuff like that, and you're starting to pick up traction, I feel like you were just, it's so important. You're probably just like, you know what, let me just keep doing what I'm doing and keep putting my
Yeah.
head down and just pushing.
Yeah.
Is that,
Just keep doing the same thing that I know how to do. I don't know how to like do
yeah,
social media for real. I just know how to play basketball. Like,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what I do, you know?
I wanted to also talk about your the beginning of playing with Ball's life. Like, what was it? What were your first few runs like playing with them?
Yeah. Um, my first few runs were, dude, like no one's ever done anything like this. I mean, other than
Mm,
like and one and all the street ball in the
yeah,
past, but this was like a trial and error thing. So um, there was no nervousness or anything
yeah.
like that.
You had nothing to lose. You had nothing to lose.
It was me and Scotty and Nick and Austin
Yeah,
at the beginning, and there was nothing but like, I'm gonna go out and do what I do every day and just
yeah,
go over there and film it. That's it. That's all it was, for
yeah,
real.
yeah. Did you tell yourself like, listen, I'm just gonna take the pressure off myself and just go out and just do it?
Yeah, I mean, there
Yeah,
were points I would say like maybe 8, 9 runs in where people were actually like showing up to come see us.
yeah. You
That I
guys
would
have
start to say
crazy
like,
crowds now. It's nuts.
yeah, we get like 200, 250 people there like each run. And at some
Yeah,
point I was like, I feel like I'm playing in college again, or I feel like I'm, playing in high
yeah,
school again with all these people coming to watch. So
yeah,
there was some point where I started to get nervous, but the beginning, the making of it was like
yeah.
the wholesome, beautiful
There's,
part. It was
there's
just like,
gotta be.
dude, like,
Yeah,
seems normal. Let's just go film
yeah.
it, man. It was
Yeah,
normal.
there's
Yeah.
so much magic in that. Just starting something and it turning into what it turned into. I mean, because your team turned into something a lot bigger than it. You guys have different coast teams now, and
Right.
stuff like that, which is really cool. Talk about that run you had with Emmanuel, and how you guys were able to just like you. If you guys haven't seen it, I'll put a clip in right now, but. Nah, but that was one of my favorite runs I've seen from you guys. Cause dude, that was there was so much. It was so magical, man. Like just the fact that you two were able to just like shit on everybody.
And like, by people thinking they know what happened, like they think that I called Emmanuel, or they think that, well, his
Yeah,
name's Hansel.
Hansel. Okay.
His name is Hansel, and he has it backwards on his Instagram, which is fine. His name is Hansel, which
I
I've
was
come
about
to
to say,
find
I
out.
was about to say because it was in the title, and I was like, and
I know, I know,
Hansel,
I
like,
know. So, great kid, barely speaks English. He's
oh,
from
right.
the Dominican Republic,
Oh
but you
wow.
can just, like I said, I feel energy from people. I could just tell he's such a wholesome, nice kid.
Yeah,
He's so
yeah. He comes off that way.
so. By unpopular demand, people thought that I called this kid, or that Balls Live called this kid to come
Yeah.
and play. But we just showed up at this park, and I just hear all this chattering. People start getting loud, and they're like, I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, dude, Hansel Manuel just pulled up over there.
Hansel, man. Yeah.
No way. So, I grabbed my cameraman, I grabbed my buddy Travis, and I'm like, dude,
Mm,
let's go over there and meet this kid, because I've been chatting with him on Instagram. Like, I want to meet
yeah.
this kid.
Yeah.
Walk over there, and then that's what y'all see on the video, is just like, that's the first time I've ever met him. And this
That's
guy that's
crazy.
with him is like a street baller, and who was trying to make his YouTube. And he wanted to like bring him and be like, okay, let's do me and Hansel versus Ball's Life. And
Yeah.
then I kind of blew the whole thing up by going, Hansel, you're running with me, dog. I
Yeah.
go,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're running with me.
Yeah.
And the guy, I could tell he was like not happy about it, but I was like, bro, I'm sorry.
I mean,
But
it paid off.
once in a lifetime opportunity, my homie's gonna
Yeah.
run with us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I blew up his whole little project. I feel bad about that, but
Yeah. It is
so
what it
he
is.
ran with us, and that was, dude, that video is 100% organic. Like, I
Oh
didn't know
yeah.
he was coming, and we just started balling together, dude. I couldn't believe how good he was. He was
That's amazing.
incredible.
Yeah, dude. I was pissing myself when the one guy was like, he wants to guard him, he wants to guard him, and he like he shit on him 3 times, and the one kid was just like, I don't know what to tell you. Try to guard him. Like it was, dude. I
I
was,
know.
dude,
And Hansel, man, he doesn't even know how good he is, which is
yeah.
hilarious. I was not that good at that age. Like
How old is he? Young,
he's like 17, man. I think when
bro.
I ran with him, he's probably like 16. He was
What?
young, man. I'm 25. He's
Holy
16. All I could do at 16 was like catch and shoot, and he's doing like the Jamal Crawford fake in and out,
dude. He
halfway behind the
was,
back,
yeah. That
making
was,
people.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. His moves were unreal. It was like you couldn't. It didn't matter what direction you forced him. He was still gonna dunk on you.
he's the man, dude. And I'm not
Yeah.
one to be like, oh, that should have been me. Like, no, if I
No,
see somebody doing better, like,
no.
go for it. I'm
Well,
proud of you.
it's the thing. It's like if one person eats, you all eat, right? It's like that's
Exactly,
you
dude.
can't be you. I've never actively hated on someone else's success. It's like
Yeah.
I like to be surrounded by successful people. Like that's something I pride myself on. Some people who are better than I am in certain things and smarter than me at certain aspects because I get to see them, see their success, and learn from them, and get to ask them questions and stuff like that. It's like it
You
just
learn.
absolutely. Who would you say are some of your inspirations and role models growing up
Yeah.
throughout your career?
Yeah. Well, I got to say my dad,
Yeah,
first off, like
100%.
cliche, whatever. We'll get it out of the way. Sorry, people. Second, um, I don't want to say that.
Is there
People
anyone?
people
Go ahead.
hate on me because I like Machine Gun Kelly.
What?
But I think, is that crazy to think?
I don't. I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, Eminem made him
I
switch
don't really
genres,
like
but
I don't really vocalize this because so many people hate on Machine Gun Kelly, but like I've been a fan of him since I was like a kid, and the way that he has grown through his industry
mm-hmm.
and adapted and went
Yeah,
through the hate and came back and fallen off again and came back. Dude, I look at that guy as inspiration. Like I see that he does what I kind of do in the way of
right,
like trying to like entertain people,
right.
and the way that he bounces back and the way that he is 100% himself, I like
Yeah,
appreciate him, and he's always kind of been somebody I look up to, which is
absolutely.
some people don't understand that. I'm not talking about his music, I'm talking about the way that he thrived through his industry.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense because he started off in rap and then he thought it would be a good idea to go at Eminem
Right.
and then he adapted and switched genres and made a really good rock album, like pop rock album, made some hits and
Right.
now
Right.
he had every reason to not be successful. You know what I mean? Like I didn't study
Yeah,
his career, but from like the past few years, he had every reason to fall off the face of the earth. But
he
instead,
did.
he went against that and came right back. So I completely understand why you are inspired by him and why you look at him that way.
Yeah.
I guess one of my inspirations is it sounds weird and it's gonna be weird for saying this too, but Logan Paul,
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah.
he used to make some of the dumbest shit in the beginning, but like I've studied how he changed and he progressed even after the Suicide Forest stuff and how he was able to turn his business into a multi-million-dollar business and now
Right.
he's doing these things and he's a trendsetter. If you really look back at it, it's the diss tracks, the clothing line, the boxing, the everything. So it's like just being able to study him and see what he does, it kind of helps me and makes me feel like that I'm surrounded by him and being able to adapt and be able to learn and just surround myself a bit smarter people than me.
Dude, I
But
completely agree with you. Yes,
yeah,
I totally see that, and I try to look at people deeper than what this like the facade shows or what the people really see. I'm just like, dude, that a lot of people kind of um, become numb when they think that people on the internet aren't real people.
oh yeah,
Like, dude, like they have real feelings. They came from the same place you do. Like, I'll tell you, my roommate played football against Logan Paul in high school and got hit by him.
oh
So
for real,
like the fact that like he told me that, it really kind of like struck a nerve with me. I was like, damn, like that's a real person.
normal people,
He
yeah,
goes through the same kind of stuff that we do. The fact that
yeah,
he really adapted himself and really challenged himself, he should be an inspiration to all of us.
absolutely, yeah. And it's like they're normal people, but their ambitions and goals are just so much bigger than them, and
Right.
and that's what leads them to making it. And and I also think it's important to surround yourself with really good people as well, because that does make or break your career. You know what I mean?
Dude, I mean, the people that I'm surrounded with every day do better than me.
Right.
And at some points, yeah, like I'll get down on myself, but like I'll always bounce back from that and know that like they're teaching me. Like they're all older than me. Everybody that I've always hanged out with,
Right.
older than me, like been through the problems. Like that's how you learn. And I like consistently challenge myself on that aspect, and I think it's great.
Right. So when you do feel down on yourself, is there anything you do to help take it away? Are you a reader? Do you meditate? What do you do? What are your strategies to help that?
I just don't quit. I just think
Mm.
like, okay, like I'll be crazy honest. I'm just like, dude, people have such short memories that you
Mm.
can't like sulk in your own defeat. Like no one's gonna remember it but you. So
That's true.
you take those learning lessons, know that you're your biggest critic, and then you can bounce back from anything.
Right.
But you just gotta like take those experiences and make sure that you learn from them the next time that you go and do whatever you're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's actually really big. I mean, a lot of people forget that. I mean, I forget it myself. You overthink everything. You think in your head like, oh, I got to be this and that. Like when even like setting your own schedules for stuff, it's like no one's really paying attention. No
Right.
one's really gonna be able to. No one's gonna critique you on shit like that. So it is important to have what do you call it? Just a quick memory, just to get the bad things out of your head, because that
Yeah.
ultimately is what's going to hold you down. And a lot of it's not even real.
I had an old basketball trainer. His name is Spencer. And every time I would miss a shot, he would go, "Gotta have amnesia. Gotta have
Yeah, yeah,
amnesia."
yeah,
And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude, and that
Mhm,
became like a precursor for my whole life, man.
mhm.
Just
Yeah,
you fuck up and then gotta
yeah.
have amnesia, whatever, learn from it, bounce back, come back, be
Absolutely,
confident like it never even happened.
absolutely. Because at the end of the day, my buddy Nick always says this. At the end of the day, it's only you. You go to bed, it's just you and yourself. It's just you and your
Yeah.
thoughts. And it's like, if you're not going to be your biggest supporter, if you're not going to be your biggest self advocate, then no one will. There's no one
And that's
that's
how I
gonna.
like teach people like about like motivational speaking. They're always like, well, how do you go and speak in front of people? I'm like, okay, have you ever watched somebody speaking in front of you? And okay, like most of the time, if you're sitting down and watch somebody speaking, that's because they're a good speaker or they're supposed to be there, right?
Right, right.
Have you ever looked at that person speaking and like laughed at them or thought they looked weird or thought they sounded weird or crazy? Like, no.
Yeah,
Like you sat there, you listened, and you respected that person. Now you just got to think you are that person
right,
at that point. You are
right.
that person in front of those people. Like that is how people think. Like
Yeah.
you are now that person. Just be confident, and that's how it's gonna go out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You gotta just fully believe in yourself and believe in your ability, and because that confidence is what rubs off on other people, and that's what
Right.
helps other people realize, okay, that's what helps people take you seriously.
Yep.
If
Exactly.
if I were to sit up here when I'm doing a podcast and just stutter and be like, oh shit, I have no idea what's going on, what I'm doing, like, people are gonna be like, oh, why am I gonna watch this? But it's like, if you are able to be like, hey, listen, you know what? Some sort of credibility. I know a little bit what I'm talking about just I talk about my just experience. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Right.
if you're able to believe in yourself, and same with you in the basketball court, like if you weren't able to be like, you know what, dude, I'm gonna be a Division I player, I'm gonna be a pro, and you didn't put in that effort, no one would see that. And if you didn't go out and film yourself and be like, you know what, dude, I think I'm pretty good at this this basketball. Let me film myself. No one's gonna be like, oh, he should be on Ball His Life, or no, you know what I mean? Like no one's gonna believe in you besides yourself, and it takes the energy that you rub off is what radiates, and that's what
Right.
allows other
And it
people to see
goes
it.
and it goes back to our conversation about preparation. And if you do that
Absolutely,
preparation and you get in that moment, that is confidence. And people can
yeah,
see confidence for real. They
yeah,
all can. Even
yeah,
if they don't think they can. No, you see it. Confidence is a real thing. And if you protrude that, man, like it can
yeah.
take you miles.
Preparation breeds confidence, no matter what you're doing. It goes in every aspect of life, whether it's you're taking a test or you're getting ready to play in a game.
Yeah.
Because I played in basketball, high school, all 4 years, and I ended up going to Temple just to go. And I was in high school, it's just like it is that constant battle every day. It's like battling whether or not you're good enough, and then you realize like, you know, if when you're, I personally I had a chip on my shoulder in high school, and I was always like right there, but the coach was always trying to look younger and try to see what the freshmen are doing or see what the hell sophomores were, but I constantly battled my ass off and went at these kids every single day. I ended up starting my senior year, and you know, just being and leading my team to the playoffs, which we haven't been in a few years before that. Like, you know, as I was me and one other kid were the only seniors, so it was like you just have to say fuck you. I'm gonna attack you. I'm gonna come at you and with everything I have and believe in yourself. Right. You know, so I completely understand exactly what you're saying and where you're coming from as well. So I love basketball. I'm the biggest Sixers fan you'll ever meet. I'm the biggest basketball head you'll ever meet. You know, I love all that stuff. But what's your favorite team? It's a random question, but I want to ask
people hate me because they think I'm like a bandwagoner, but I switch my team up every year. Right now, I'm going with the Mavericks because I really like how Luka Doncic plays.
Yeah.
And Dorian Finney-Smith was my roommate in college.
Oh, for real?
He went to I was his teammate, his roommate, or his sweet mate, whatever you want to call it. But, I love Dorian. He's a great guy. But cool. Yeah, that and Luka, man, the pace that he plays at, I've never seen that before. Like he can just, if he gets the ball and the game's going crazy, as soon as he catches it, it's like, all right, whatever I want to do.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I've noticed that in his game. He makes his own pace, and he's like not the most athletic, but he is. He has like a sneaky athleticism to it, which is it's crazy to watch, and he doesn't
miss. He's shifty, and it has everything to do with the fact, like, so like if you're not fast, that means that you have to slow down even further so that when you do go, people think you're fast, right?
Right, true.
Wow, this guy's moving so slow, and then bam. Like, he just slows down to the fact that people can't guard him.
Right, absolutely.
I think it's beautiful, and I think he's like the best guy to watch. His footwork.
Oh, yeah. Is there anyone you embody your game after?
Yeah, I used to do JJ Redick all day.
JJ Redick, yeah.
And then once I got out of I call it like system basketball.
Yeah.
So like
high school
like
system, yeah.
High school, college, all that,
Triangle offense, all that stuff.
Once you get the street ball, you're like, well, damn, I can. Oh, I'm allowed to dribble. I don't have a coach over there. Like, I'll do what I want. Yep. So I would say more like I try to be like Donovan Mitchell. I'm really aggressive. I like to drive. Okay. I like to make one hard move and like lower my shoulder and get to the rim.
So I'll leave you off for this last question. We're almost at about an hour here. So I wanted to ask you, for any kids who are who are in high school and are struggling with maybe, honestly, it could be any sport. What advice do you have to offer them if to a kid who may feel like they're not good enough, but they really have a goal and they really want something? Is there something you could tell them, something that you can relate from your own experience?
From where I'm sitting today and what I think, you have to be brutally honest with yourself and say, am I actually taking the actions to be the person that I want to be? Or are there some things that are, you want to be this person, but maybe, I still want to go out and party, or still want to go hang out with my friends, or, I don't want to put in this extra work. Like, you just got to be honest with yourself and say, if I really want this goal, I actually have to become basketball. I actually became basketball. Everything I did, walked, talked, how I worked, how I lived, became what I wanted. Right. So if somebody is still doubting themselves, like I didn't even doubt myself. I didn't, even with one hand, because I became what I wanted. So if somebody's still doubting themselves, I would just say, my man, you have to look at yourself brutally and be honest with yourself and make those changes. And then once you do, it's going to be a clear path, I promise.
Yeah, and the sacrifices are essential. Yeah, if you have to make sacrifices for what you want. And and just the brutal honesty too is a big thing as well. Just sacrifice and dedication, and because once you start to see progress, I feel like you start to get addicted to it. You start to see, okay, the work I'm actually putting in is paying itself off. Whether it may not be immediate, but over time you're gonna realize, and for everyone watching, like, this is literally the perfect perfect example of somebody who just worked their ass off and had every reason not to, and still found a way to make it and come out on top, and just fully believe in yourself. And I think a lot of people can learn from you and learn from your experience, and and what you're going to do as well. Because I have full faith you'll be a professional basketball player somewhere.
They
And
should, man. Like,
yeah,
if you look like me, like, you wouldn't be out there doing
right.
the stuff that you want. Like, you have to really fully believe in yourself, and it is
Yeah.
possible. So yeah, that is my advice. That's all
Yeah,
I can really say.
yeah, and it sounds so cliche, but being your own biggest believer, your own biggest fan is what is necessary in order to find true success. And
Yeah,
yeah, and
I
like I
agree.
said, I'm so happy you came on and were able to share that with me and share that with my listeners. And just this is one of my favorite podcasts I've had because like I have a personal investment because I've been watching you and I've seen your videos and I just been like, you know what, dude, this would be a great guest to have on. I don't think it'll happen, but let me just reach out and see what happens. And now we just built this relationship, and
Yeah.
I would love to come out to some of your runs and see you play and see the madness. And I was saying to myself, I want to 1v1 Carlos so bad, but
Oh man.
but no, that's a different story. But nah, man, I really respect what you're doing, man. I really appreciate that, and I love
Yeah.
what you're doing, man. Keep it up, and I wanted to thank you for coming on.
Of course, man.
But
Thank you for having me,
yeah,
and
bro,
this won't be the last time I'll be on here. Anytime you want me to
absolutely, bro. Well,
hop
yeah,
on, man. I like the conversations that you bring to the table. It's different,
yeah,
and it's necessary.
yeah.
I think it's good.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, hey, possibly in the future, if you have time off, come speak to some schools in Philly. Biggest Philadelphia Catholic League is one of the biggest leagues in the world, in the country. So, I think they would like these schools would love to have you on, do some motivational speaking, have some other guests come on too. Maybe if some of your other teammates want to come on, we can just make it why not, right? Just make it as big as
Of
possible.
course.
Hit that mental health lane and let these kids realize that these goals are attainable. They just got to believe in themselves.
Yeah. I just
But
think so many people got away from like where they started or like how they actually feel. So,
yeah,
like I said, that was the attention that I got drawn towards from you was like the mental health part and being real.
absolutely. Yeah,
And like whoever's listening, like, dude, just take it with a grain of salt. It is real. It is how you gotta think about yourself and just go out there and get
yeah,
what you want, man.
yeah, man. Just go
Don't
for it. I
settle.
mean,
Don't
yeah.
settle. For real.
Absolutely. There's always time, whether you realize it or not, there's always time. And I always drop this quote every single episode, and I say this every single episode, but when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you start to
Mhm.
put in perspective how much time you do have and what you actually are wanting to go for, and you start changing, hey, instead of saying I got to get up at 8 a.m. to practice, say, I got to get up early, start my day right, and then get that work in to my goal. And it's like you start changing your mindset. That just goes full circle and leads you to positions like where you're at. You know what I mean? So,
And it feels good. It
oh
really
yeah,
does. Like,
oh for
if you're
sure,
looking for a change, don't go to like drugs and alcohol or don't go to
yeah,
anything else. Dude,
yeah,
go to like changing your life. That is like the most
yeah,
like
yeah. Find
what am I
some,
looking
yeah,
for? Stimulating thing
yeah,
that you can find is
yep,
like trying to change your life is like
yeah,
crazy, man. You'll see
yeah, yeah.
like an immense amount of change and you'll be like fulfilled for
Oh
real.
yeah,
Try it.
oh yeah,
Try
yeah.
it.
And that's a whole different conversation to find what you find solace in, But and we'll have you on for an episode. Hopefully, I would love
Yeah.
to do an in-person episode, possibly fly you out or fly out to where you're at, and I think that'd be
I'm in.
a really cool episode. But yeah, man, this is episode 28 of the Loft. With Zach
28.
28, man, episode
28, baby.
28. I'm with Zach Hodskins, and yeah, peace, guys. See ya.